Things are kicking off in Sheffield.
Are you proud of your city?
People have taken to the streets. They're getting arrested. They've been taken to court.
Why?
But they're not backing down.
Is defending our rights in our own street.
And this is the reason. A private company employed by the council is cutting down thousands of what many people say are perfectly healthy trees. I grew up in Sheffield and I've been watching this battle play out online. So I want to know why the leafy suburban streets of my home city, one of the greenest in Europe, have become an urban battlefield.
Who the hell do you think you are?
So I've come home to find out what's going on, to see why Jarvis is getting involved.
They're saying it's your contracts. Julie, can we talk to you?
And to try and get some answers from the people in charge.
Good morning, it's Toby at breakfast. It's BBC Radio Sheffield, where this morning we're asking, what do you make to the way that Sheffield Council is handling the tree row, the 5 o'clock raids?
Council workers arrived in the middle of the night to chop down trees.
The police turned up, knocked on people's doors and told them to get out.
The 74-year-old man arrested for witness intimidation.
This is complete nonsense.
What are you arresting him for?
Complete nonsense.
I mean, I've been bored by 74-year-olds. I've never been intimidated by one.
I can use force or arrest you.
It's become a war of attrition involving politicians, a private company, the police and people.
Get off me!
Sheffield's known as Pothole City, and almost everyone here agrees the roads are desperately in need of repair. So back in 2012, the council signed a 25-year, £2.2 billion contract with the multinational company Amy to sort them out. But a big part of that contract involves removing thousands of the city's street trees that they say are dangerous, dead, diseased, dying, damaging, or discriminatory. The council say these trees will be replaced with saplings, but campaigners say this won't produce anywhere near the same amount of oxygen as this.
There's no hint of damage to the road surface. We cannot...
Paul's one of the leading tree campaigners who's been trying to dig into the details of the contract.
There's literally no reason anyone can see whatsoever for felling this tree. Many of these problems are rectifiable. In the area, only around 10% of the trees that are identified for felling actually need to be. But something in the contract is incentivising Amy to identify trees for felling and incentivising the council to agree.
Well, we're on patrol.
It's 10 a.m. and Jack and Ken are on lookout duty.
If we spot somebody, we ring up the tree emergency number.
While we're filming, Ken spots some tree fellers moving in.
Oh shit, they're there.
Does not look good. No barriers going up.
They've just rocked up, police, chippers, everything.
As we arrive, a woman comes out to see what's going on.
How do you feel about it?
I feel all these protesters should leave them to the judge. That they're hazards to people in wheelchairs and sticks.
Right, so you want them to come down?
Yeah.
There you go, Ken. So it's not everyone that
No, I know
wants them
it's
to come.
This woman's not alone. There are many residents who support the felling and want this work done. The council took the protesters to court, and it's now illegal for anyone to step inside the zone around the trees. Now the contractor uses private security who use what they say is reasonable force to remove people inside. So far, 2 of the protesters have been found guilty of breaking this ruling, and the council are now going after them for £27,000 worth of legal costs. These people aren't all eco-warriors. They're office workers, pensioners, parents and children.
What do you think about what they're doing to the trees?
I don't like it.
No, why not?
I just don't.
Trees are better off on the street than in the back of that truck, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, can I make sure it gets you?
But it wasn't all so friendly here today.
So, this is a normally quiet, peaceful residential street in Sheffield, as you can just see. Man's been arrested, put in the back of a van. This is a daily occurrence now, almost, in Sheffield.
This woman was arrested on suspicion of causing intentional harm or distress and will have to go to court.
What are you arresting him for?
This 74-year-old man was arrested under suspicion of witness intimidation.
South Yorkshire Police, I like the Gestapo.
He was later released without charge.
What are you doing?
When protesters are arrested, they're often released with a condition that they don't return to sites where tree felling is taking place. This woman, who didn't want us to show her face, said her son went to a protest with friends when his school was closed because of the snow, and the police stepped in.
As he arrived, one of the police officers says, there's a minor here, call social services. And lo and behold, social services turned up.
How does that make you feel?
Well, it's exactly how they want to make me feel. Nothing strikes fear into the heart of a parent like a phone call about social services.
South Yorkshire Police say that they have a duty of care when children are present at a site of work and will always contact their parents and council staff to ensure their welfare.
Okay, so just got a copy of the local paper, the Sheffield Star. On its front page, 30 police at a tree protest. Enough's enough, they say, get round the table and solve the felling dispute. It's time to talk. So clearly this debate about police resources on the streets of Sheffield is really starting to hot up.
Why am I being pushed? This is a public footpath.
South Yorkshire Police say the policing of protests comes down to an exercise of balancing competing rights and upholding the law.
I'm trying to walk down this footpath.
They've suggested we speak to the council about it, but the leader of Sheffield City Council, Julie Dorr, hasn't responded to my interview requests, so I tracked her down after a meeting at police headquarters.
Julie? Hi, BBC News, can we have a word, please? Can we have 1 minute to talk to you about trees?
Sorry, I am far
But Julie, the people of Sheffield are concerned why there's police on the streets.
Well, that's the police.
No, they're saying it's your contract. Julie, can we talk to you?
So the leader of the council says I should ask the police why there are so many officers on the streets. The police won't give us an interview, but the man in charge of making sure South Yorkshire Police is run effectively wants to talk to me.
The enforcing of the contract is a matter for Sheffield City Council and its contractors. It's not a matter for the police. The police are there to maintain public order, to enable peaceful protests and to allow the workers to go about their lawful business.
We spoke to people who say they feel intimidated by the police and that their police are working on behalf of a private company. We spoke to one woman who said her son had attended a protest on a snow day and later on they had a call from social services.
Well, I think the incident you recount there is serious and therefore ought to be reported, and that can be properly investigated. And likewise, if the people themselves feel they're being intimidated by police or anybody else, that can be investigated too.
Sheffield Council has always said there isn't a target for the amount of trees that will be cut down, but campaigners aren't convinced. They've been trying to see more of the contract, parts of which have been hidden from the public. Then as we're filming, there's a breakthrough.
Sheffield Council has been forced to reveal more details about its controversial tree felling programme.
It turns out that the contract says 17,500, almost half of the city's street trees, will be replaced. The private company Amy say they're willing to talk, but any renegotiation of the contract would result in practical or financial changes.
Now, Councillor Brian Lodge, who's the cabinet member...
Back at Radio Sheffield, the councillor in charge of the roads is denying that this is the case, despite it being written in black and white in a legally binding contract.
The fact that you've kept this from people really smells.
There is no target. Let me tell you again, there is no target.
Well, apart from the target we can all read.
That is not a target. That is to cover the council in case of the requirement to take those number of trees out.
So the council doesn't think this changes anything. They say they're going to carry on doing what the people want.
I am getting letters, I am getting emails, I am getting phone calls from people that are telling me that the work needs to be done on their streets, that they want the work done.
It's Friday night, and the tree campaigners are holding a fundraiser to raise money for the two protesters who lost their legal battle with the council. Hundreds of people have bought tickets, and some of Sheffield's biggest names are playing this sellout gig.
People get attached to trees, they last longer than people, don't they? So then you see them just chopped down for no reason. It hurts people because it's part of their community, it's part of their neighbourhood. This whole situation is daft, and it's daft to get rid of trees for no reason.
If people hadn't taken to the streets and hadn't come together like they have here tonight, the trees would have come down without any fuss. But politicians, big business and the police all underestimated how much they mean to people. But it's not just about trees, it's about who the streets belong to and where power lies. And for tonight at least, these people think it's with them.
Every time they try and up the ante, more and more people come out because they realise what this is doing to our city.
We're going to win now. That's what I now know.